Let's talk about it in full because last Thursday starts before the event itself. The Rock
Okay.
shows up on Pat McAfee.
Listen,
I was like,
I've
oh.
never seen a bigger dick rider in my life than Pat McAfee. Are we serious? The way this nigga was acting on Raw this week. I know we skipping ahead, but Jesus Christ.
He's doing a lot. The period where I was generally excited for him has generally faded. Um, because one, he left.
Yeah, bro.
It,
Like, yuck.
yeah, it's kind of a lot, but nonetheless, I mean, his entire show is that. But he shows up. The Rock shows up. They're in Vegas last week because of the Super Bowl. Um, Rock shows up on the show. It's his first kind of like public speaking thing since the whole "We Want Cody" jazz that happened last Friday. So people are tuned in. He coins the term "Cody crybabies," and maybe that should have been like our tip off of like, oh, they're gonna go in a different direction with this. Um, but he coins the term Cody Crybabies. Everyone feels vindicated. Everyone's clapping like Warris on the timeline. Yeah, Cody Crybabies. Give me a shirt. Give me two.
Listen, the here's the thing is that like not only did the pro Cody people get worked, the pro Rock people got worked the worst because they were doing all types of writing, bro. They was like, well, you see, it's big business, baby, and it's just like, uh, no, you got work too. And the funniest part is that they tried to act like they weren't being worked. And they tried to act like they weren't just telling people it's a business. It's all about money. And it's just like it went right back to it. Because like you notice like after the decision was made on Thursday, they shut the fuck up. Like they had nothing else to say.
I mean,
After that.
because at the end of the day, they still getting the Rock, but we're still getting what we want to. So it's kind of crazy. I never thought in any world Roman Reigns would be working twice at WrestleMania this year. Um, but I guess that's what's going to have to be. I mean, to be honest with you, 3 out of 4 of them are working twice, at WrestleMania this year. But that kind of like set the stage, which eventually led into the WrestleMania kickoff event, not press conference. We were led astray. We were told it would be a press conference, but what it really was
They
a keynote.
they changed the wording around it to like press event. I want to say a little bit earlier that day.
It
And
was
I
press event initially, and then it turned to kickoff special.
Yeah, yeah, and then it was like once you saw the production behind it, which was like this was a real deal production. Like you could go back and watch this right now. It's like an hour, a little bit under an hour long on the network, and it was moving. It was really.
Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, Big E, CM Punk. I was like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They were
It
trying to
was,
have their own like insider NBA kind of vibe to it.
yeah, like it was really like I was just really impressed with they even had the AR graphics. I was like, yo, they really like brought the whole graphics package to Las Vegas. So I was digging it.
Yeah, Bianca Belair come out. She's talking about what I'm gonna do for WrestleMania once everyone else figures it out, and also loving WWE.
That was why she was there. That was why she was there. There's no other reason.
They had Rhea Ripley come out, which they have they telegraphed anything more than Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch ever?
No, but I mean Roman and Cody, but like I think you have to do that, and you have to put some like legitimate doubt in people's heads that it could happen because there's still doubt that it could not happen. You know what I mean? Like the elimination
There's
chamber.
there's no doubt in my mind that Becky versus Rhea is not
Yes,
happening.
but
Like they've been.
we know how
Go
this
ahead.
works, Mills. We know how this works, so that's why we
Of
don't have it.
course,
So like I
it's a business.
I have to judge it on the merits of how they're telling the story. So like the
Okay.
story that they're telling right now is that like there's a possibility that Becky won't make it. I think there's no possibility that Rhea loses in Australia, but like they're like, yo, Becky could not make it because Bianca Belair is in the match now. Liv Morgan's in the match, and she's coming for revenge. Like they've all been built really well, and we'll talk about that on the show a little bit later. But like, I think that you have to put it there where it's like, yo, you have to like create some doubt that this could happen. But also like kind of they're gauging to see how if people want to see this. And I think they're from Thursday all the way to Monday. People rightly want to see this match.
I mean, yes, for sure, but they have telegraphed it hard. I'm telling you that it's a. But nonetheless, I mean, we're here. That eventually led to what we dub as the main event of this kickoff special. It was Roman. Well, first of all, I think it was Seth that came out first. Was it Seth that came out first?
Yes, it was Seth.
Seth came out first. He wants answers um, regarding what his WrestleMania plans are going to be. Then Roman comes out, and Roman, him and Seth have been at odds a little bit, but it was nice seeing them like face to face. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're really genuinely foils of one another. And I think in another world as well, this is a match that people also wanted for WrestleMania 40, you know,
Yeah.
before the world championship kind of got established. But Roman Reigns comes out, does the whole shtick, you're wearing your wife's clothes, and he says essentially, since Cody can't make a decision, I'm going to make the decision for him. And the main event of WrestleMania is going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock.
They roped
And,
us from that moment. From that moment, they roped us.
well, they put Rock and Roman on the little the little Titantron things. They changed it at the end, which is funny.
which is good. Listen, every part of this is how you do it. Every part of, like, I have to say, like, I got, everybody got. You know what I mean? Everyone fell into it. We all got really, you know what I'm saying? We all got really invested. And I think that, that is the best thing about this, is that we all were invested, whether we liked it or not. We were invested to see what they were going to do. And I think from the moment he said, "I choose The Rock," everybody booed in the fucking arena. Everybody booed.
Because The Rock then comes out to a chorus of boos. And he's not necessarily like he's doing the acknowledgement of it. He's looking around. There's like a little fur on his eyebrows. Like it's not the people's eyebrow, but it's a little like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Um and he eventually comes out and he says that this match has been in the making for God knows how long. And this is something that's within the family. And he proceeds to put up this 40-foot
Well,
tall.
before that,
Okay.
I gotta commend him here, because you gotta kind of walk through the stages of, we were still thinking he was attempting to be babyface at this point. So remember this, like, we're still thinking he's like, oh, I'm still gonna try and do this, right? So he's doing the catchphrases, he's doing everything, and I will commend him for his acting skills here, because he did look legitimately ruffled. We didn't know what the plan was at this point, but, like, you know,
He probably was actually ruffled.
I think knowing that he had to, like, knowing what he had to do, he probably was like, no, this is good. Like, I think this is a really good sleight of hand trick by The Rock and booking here,
Right.
because he's doing that and he slips into Cody Crybaby stuff. And from that moment of Cody Crybabies, it's like, oh, he's really laying it thick. He thinks that Cody's kind of like the Cena adjacent type foil here. But I'm like, when he was facing Cena, he was still doing that heelish stuff, but he was getting cheered for it at that time. It's not
Yes.
happening at that time. So when he does the family tree, I said, oh no, this is great. Cause he just turned heel. He literally just turned heel there. And it was like, no, there's no way they'll have these two egomaniacs main event of WrestleMania together. That's just not gonna happen. When they did the handshake meals, that was the moment where it was like, oh, this is Rock and Vince, or this is Austin Vince. At this
I
point, he
felt that
aligned himself.
I felt like the handshake was like the acknowledgement of like this is bigger than us. Like this is for tribal, this is for our family, this is something, along those lines. And then Cody comes out. I'm not sure what the production decision was to not have him come out with music, but I guess they didn't want it to be too distracting. He comes out like, hey.
This is bullshit. He hit the wire shit. Shout out to shout out to Lance Reddick, R.I.P. Man. He hit the this is bullshit.
He comes out. First of all, I'm watching this as we're doing this, right? The Rock immediately stands on the side of Roman. Very subtle touch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
subtle.
comes out on his side. Seth is on the other side with Cody, and he's like, "Listen, Rock. Unfortunately, it's not your decision to make." And I'm like, "Nigga, you're the one who said 6 days ago."
It was his decision to make, but all right.
That's why I don't get the whole like this was the plan the entire time. Like
Here's
that.
my yeah, because here's my thing. They could easily, and they could still do this. There's a couple weeks left. They have to create a situation, right? Where that phone call or whatever conversation that was going on between Cody and Rock, that Cody was legitimately bamboozled by somebody that has a little bit more wisdom than him, has more, you know what I mean, has more clout than him at that point. They have to make it as though like Rock had his own machinations for doing what he did. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
they have to like, and I think that it's implied in the text that The Rock did that for his own selfish reasons, but they're not saying it. And I think they should probably say that pretty soon.
I think they should say it on Friday when The Rock shows up.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the conversation, we still don't know what it was. He alludes to it. Cody does allude to it on whatever happened Thursday. But
mhm.
again, it's like what was the real, the conversation that happened. But now you see that The Rock had his own selfish reasonings for it. And I think that Cody, if not saying it Thursday, could probably say it down the line.
He says that the main event will be Cody Rhodes. He's finishing his story. He's finished it against Roman Reigns. Literally, the little Titantron thing changes in real time, which was the best part. It's like, oh shit. Um,
You gotta
and
love the pop when that happened. And it wasn't a big arena, but it still sounded pretty loud. But also the YouTube chat. I was on YouTube looking at it. The YouTube chat it fucking exploded, bro.
of course, this was people getting what they wanted, and they talk about families and stuff like that. And Cody Rhodes essentially says, like, listen, if your ancestors were here, they would be ashamed.
Then Rock's face changes.
Rock faces changes like, who the this suddenly I'm like I was like, Rock, would you do this if someone thing Rocky Johnson? If that side of your family got insulted, if someone said you ain't a real nigga, Rocky Johnson, he's never been one, would he have the same gusto? But nonetheless, The Rock steps forward, and suddenly he's in the foreground, and Roman Reigns is in the background,
Yeah.
and he walks over to Cody. And I don't think Cody. It looks like in this moment that Cody's not even like he's processing all these things that happened, but he didn't think that this would ever be the situation that could ever happen. This is legitimately like low-key a swerve, where The Rock is essentially saying, you insult his family, you are insulting my family. You insult his ancestors, you insult my ancestors. And the one thing you're not going to do is insult our family. And he slaps Cody across the face, and it gets crazy. I mean, first of all, I love Pierce, Triple H, all this in the background as well, kind of representing it all, kind of to break it all up. I love Seth also getting into it. I love Roman getting into it. I love that they've kind of set the stage up um, for all this to occur. And in one hand, I appreciate it it's because of what we eventually got what kind of like what was supposed to happen. We got Cody versus Roman WrestleMania. We got a very intriguing thing, but it was also like part of it's like theater, and
Yeah.
it kind of like felt like it in the most rawest, realist, organic way. Like legitimately watching four performers sell this thing on stage in front of an audience, not even just the ring, but just like on stage and having to pull off those kind of performances, having to tell that kind of story, um, without it being too heavy handed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Letting you aren't told that The Rock is turning heel. You are now seeing it happen kind of like in real fashion. The moment he steps in front of Roman is the moment everything shifts, you
Yep.
know? And it was just,
Also
I mean,
Roman. Also, Roman just kind of being this fucking baby shit heel. Like, it's like his whole demeanor changed when Rock got beside, or when he got behind the Rock. Like now it's almost like the that Roman is letting Rock lead him, and that is the craziest part.
It's amazing, and it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic continues to unfurl itself on SmackDown, because I know you said in the Discord, you said something that's very, very interesting. You was like, this also could potentially set up the stage for a Roman face turn. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh wow.
it's how it happens. It's how it's happened. Like to me, you make money off of, and again, like I gotta eat crow here too a little bit. Like Rock saying this is a long storyline. We're thinking that we were thinking that he was talking about before. I'm like, no, this is right. Like, am I wrong here? This is the beginning of the Rock Roman storyline here. Like
This is the beginning.
this is technically the beginning of what they're trying to do. And I think you get a lot of money out of the fact that, like, you know, if Roman loses at WrestleMania, he falls out of stature with Rock, and at that point, Rock becomes a bigger heel by fucking the Rock, or fucking up Roman, or taking his bloodline and leaving Roman with nothing. That is what Cody said. He wants to take everything. He's be a chief without a tribe. And I think that's what you got to go to have a really good babyface Roman, is to have everything taken away from him and him have to get it back. And that, to me, that's a really good story.
The post match incident, Triple H is being interviewed in real time backstage after everything's kind of broken up, and he was like, things got crazy out there. We all just got to remember to be professionals about this. As Roman and Rock from the first of all, also they had the little post match thing where Punk is just like, yeah, punch him in the face.
Their face, man. I'm like, Punk, chill, because you know
And
who he talking.
Rock just looks from the stage. It's just like, who's this nigga talking about? I love that part. But yeah, we go to the backstage. Roman and Rock kind of like come from the background. Rock leading Roman, by the way. Looking bigger than Roman, looking more important than Roman. He says you need to.
Roman got in his car. You feel me? I'll let him drop my top.
Hey yo, but he says you better fix this, and you need to fix this now. And it he says, no one's gonna talk about our family like that before I slap him in the face. All types of cussing. I was like, they're allowing a lot of cussing here. This is a different era.
Us no bleeps. Seth was going on.
This is bullshit. That's bullshit. you know Seth. And it set the stage. Can we talk about SmackDown a little bit? Can we talk about the SmackDown promo a little bit? I mean, we can talk about it on the Patreon. We can talk about the rest on Patreon, but because I feel like it's such a the follow up to this, with none of the parties kind of like involved, but essentially Triple H, Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce kind of like talking about the situation, and they're unveiling that they're going to figure out who Seth Rollins' opponent is going to be through these random series of matches, and we'll get to that when we get to the recaps on Patreon. But Triple H kind of like showing that the feud is still there. The competition is still there.
Yeah.
And he's saying, ultimately, this is still my WWE. And no one is going to like force him into kind of a decision. It was tough. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. And again, you're setting up the idea that it's Triple H versus now the board. Now right. It's like wrestlers versus the board, wrestlers versus this dark kind of like situation here. And like it very much it works. It works for me. I think we should we go to Raw too? I think we should go to Raw too.
Let's do Raw.
It all connects because at the end of the day, again, we have a situation now where Cody comes out and he one of Cody's best promos, one of his best promos, talks about the divide between the Rock, and how, he's not the Rock, and the Rock is far more famous, and is a legend, and now he's faced with not only Roman but the Rock, and that leads it up to, and it calls out Pat McAfee too. I thought that he was funny when he said, "What are we supposed to do with the Nuggets?" I was like, "Yo, that was actually a good little jab there."
I agree.
Like that was pretty funny. And again, Pat McAfee, annoying as ever. I really don't like him on this show. Can I be real? Am I wrong for saying this?
Nah, man, be really real. That's all we
I
hear.
I really do not like him on the show. I think that he honestly offers nothing, absolutely nothing for me
I
on the
think
show.
after listening to Corey and Michael and Graves and like he offers very little outside of like just excitement, just energy, which is fine. It is what it is. But I also thought this Cody promo was tremendous. I think him setting the stage, I think him reclaiming the throne, I think him positioning himself as the guy at the end of the day. Um, but then Seth Rollins coming out.
Yeah.
And I think this was one of Seth's best performances, maybe ever, because
Yes.
he has a lot to do in terms of recovering his role in all of this.
Because they
Like,
were saying he was a geek, and I was like, he's in the trailer. That he's clearly going to be a major part of this fucking show.
yeah, he did a lot in terms of rehabilitating what I think the perception was of him. He was like, first of all, he was like, "Listen, man, you got to finish the story." I get it. I get it. You got to finish your story. But he also says, like, listen, I'm if you need someone in your corner to take on this machine, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's still lending off of his promo from last week, right? His
Right.
promo was all about choose me. They're the Hollywood. They're the things. And look at what happens when Road Cody got even like a taste of that. He immediately got shunned out like he didn't belong.
Yeah.
He's Seth Rollins is saying like, listen, not only do you belong, but I belong, and we got to do our best to get these guys who would love to push us out the spotlight, love to say our titles aren't shit, love to say our families aren't shit, love to believe that they are bigger and they serve a higher purpose than us, who have been working here 365 days a year while they've been coasting for damn near once every 4 years, once a decade, all this other stuff like that.
You sound like Yusuf right now. Listen, he brings up the fact that he's the one who created Roman, which I thought was a great touch.
I thought
Talks
it was
about
nice.
talks about how if anyone knows how to destroy what it is, it's the guy who built it, and
It's
he
the architect.
says he was the architect, and again that gets a pop from the crowd, and he says, if Cody needs somebody, then he can consider him his shield there, and I was like, bravo, whoever wrote that. They fixed it. Listen,
Yeah,
in the past 5 days, they fixed it. No more whether this was planned or not. I've said this before. It doesn't even matter anymore because they fixed it. It's fine. Everything's
I
fine
agree.
now. I have a caveat though, Meals.
Okay.
I'm worried. Call it what do you want to call it? I don't even know what to call it. Like call it fear. I've been hurt before. I've been burned before. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Does this set up a Seth Rollins heel turn to screw Cody?
I don't think so. I don't think it should be at all. I didn't even think about that. Like, what would make you think about that?
I think it's I'm just thinking of all the ways the rug could get pulled out from under us. Because if he's in Cody's corner, I'm still not worried about that. You know what I mean? It still matters not because again, Cody didn't choose him. Seth could realistically lose his title at Mania, and that could be a reason why he would do that. I'm thinking of all angles of how this could happen. I know it's Team Lipo till I die. Team Lipo till I die. All
It
right.
is team like listen, it's all we got. You know what I'm saying?
But at the end of the day, Meals, they're known to do some screwy shit with this.
I don't think that's the case. I think, and if anything, I'm more because of the direction it's changed, and it looks like it's going towards Drew McIntyre. I'm more fortified that Seth Rollins will retain, um, and that he will eventually be cashed on by Damian Priest, and then the Damian Drew thing will also continue to kind of like do a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I expect that for the summer. I expect Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Seth Rollins to kind of all be orbiting each other as we eventually lead into the fall where CM Punk will eventually return and that kind of like establish himself. I'm more set on that Cody Rhodes will stay a face, stay kind of like this anchor of Monday Night Raw. And
You said Cody will be on Raw?
I don't think Cody will be on Raw. I think Seth will be on Raw.
Oh, you mean Seth? Okay.
Yeah. And remain this anchor of, I don't know, Raw's on Netflix. They gotta have somebody. They gotta have multiple people for Netflix. But to be honest, it's Netflix. Like it's a built-in audience. Who the fuck cares? There's no ratings anymore. But yeah, that's what I can't see it. But I love the fact this is like feeling very cinematic to me. It's feeling very like superheroes teaming up kind of thing. And that's what the trailer gave me in this great kind of way, but it legitimately feels like
Triple H mentioned the tag match for the main event of the first WrestleMania. I just listen. I'm lipo till I die, but I'm like this. I think just with the way Seth's been treated, and you know what I'm saying, trying to get him hot again, they need not go back to Cody and Seth. I think that you can leave them alone in terms of being antagonists to each other for a while. I'm just thinking of all options. You know what I mean? So that's just where I was. That's where I was at with it.
So we're almost sure it's going to be Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth, day one of Mania.
You think so?
I think so. I think it has to be.
Have them lose.
Yeah, it would be the beginning of the end.
I mean, like have Cody and Seth. Cody and Seth are assuredly losing that match.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like legitimately if The Rock steps in. I mean, we'll know. I mean, you got to do 50-50, I guess. Yeah, I feel like if you're going to have Cody win the entire Jazz, you still got to keep Roman a little bit strong. But I also feel like there's also an opportunity for some chicanery with Rock and Roman. That leads to something that tells the bigger story or something along those lines. So it's all up in the air. But I like the way that WrestleMania is currently set up from the main event standpoint. This is a good pivot.
Right.
I mean, literally, just a couple weeks ago, it was supposed to be Cody. I mean, it was supposed to be Seth versus Punk, and it would have been a completely different Seth. You know. Now we're seeing something a little bit different, and I'm really liking it.